Welcome to episode 19 of the LoraineCounty.com Business Insights Podcast. I'm your host, Ed Skimmon, and today we're talking with Dawn Calvert, Assistant Safety Service Director for Elyria. Join us as Dawn talks about her role with the city's Economic Development Department. Dawn provides an overview of the initiatives aimed at redeveloping and revitalizing the city and the downtown area. She shares insights into the grant and tax incentive programs available to businesses, the impact of economic development on community services, and collaborative efforts with various government and nonprofits to support local enterprises. Dawn also touches on the current trends affecting economic development and her personal commitment to the community's growth and development. I first met Dawn around 2013 when she was with the Loraine County Community Development Department. She is a perfect example of why I've long believed and spoken out about the need for more formally trained economic development professionals in Loraine County. High-quality tacticians like Dawn play an outsized, but mostly hidden role in bringing positive economic projects to reality in our community. As she mentions, these projects provide jobs for residents and revenue for city services. Here's my conversation with Dawn Calvert.
Dawn Calvert, Assistant Safety Service Director with the City of Elyria.
Welcome, Dawn. Thank you for joining us. Could you provide an overview of the City of Elyria's Economic Development Department?
The Economic Development Department is really me, a department of one. However, because of my role as Assistant Safety Service Director, it's very interdisciplinary. In my role, I'm able to bring together all the departments that are needed to address economic development issues in the city, whether that be engineering, building, community development, or even the fire department, which gets overlooked sometimes with their responsibilities through the fire marshal.
What are some of the specific services and programs that the Economic Development Department provides for Elyria businesses?
We have a number of grant programs that we provide. Most of them are focused on downtown redevelopment. We have our facade grant, we have a historic rehab grant. Both of those are reimbursable grants that tenants or owners can apply for when they're remodeling their buildings. And then we have a number of tax incentive programs. So we have enterprise zone, community reinvestment area, and then also tax increment financing.
Could you talk about the value that the Economic Development Department creates that accrues beyond the businesses that you directly serve? How does the community, the county, and residents benefit because of the work that you do?
Yeah, great question. So I think, and one of the reasons I always wanted to work in economic development was the ability that the economic base has to influence quality of life in a community. When you think about the tax revenue that's generated through the jobs that are created through economic development, that influences schools, parks, fire, police. Literally every service that the city offers is in some way, shape, or form tied back to economic development. So I think that's one of the best things that we have in Elyria is that we have an understanding of that, we have a focus on that, and then we have a big commitment to our residents to improve the quality of life with the resources that we do have available.
What is something people don't normally know about the Economic Development Department that you'd like them to know?
I think they don't realize that it is a network within City Hall, but then also outside of City Hall. While the city may not be able to address every need and concern that a business has, we typically have somebody in that portfolio that can help. We are blessed to have a variety of resources that we have, whether that be through our partners like Loraine County Community College, the Small Business Development Center, One Loraine County, the Chamber of Commerce, Team NEO in the state. We usually can put together some kind of assistance to help a business. So that's one thing that we always stress is even if it's not a program that we have, we can probably connect you to somebody who does have something.
That's a good transition to my next question. Could you talk a little bit about the collaborative efforts that you are involved in, from countywide initiatives, One Loraine County that you mentioned, even Team NEO and the regional activities?
Yeah, absolutely. We are very collaborative, as I just mentioned. Even if there's been a number of projects where the city hasn't been able to provide financial support for one reason or another, and we've actually reached out to the Loraine County Community Development Department, and sometimes they're able to help where we're not able to help. But economic development does take a village. I think there are 2,000 businesses in the city of Elyria. there are, everything is always comes back to relationships. There may be a business that I don't have a direct relationship with, but somebody at the city does, or somebody through that network does. And when we work together and we share that information and we put our heads together to see how we can support businesses, it always benefits the community.
What does success look like for the Economic Development Department? What metrics do you use to measure progress?
With economic development, you can never get away from regional or national trends. We are part of that larger economy. So we're always taking a look and see what's going on. What is the unemployment rate? What is the growth rate in certain industries in the regional or even the national level? Because we're not going to be able to overachieve that typically when it comes to industry base. We are always looking at jobs, capital investment, and job growth, but then also how many resources we're providing for worker training or that kind of thing where there's upward mobility for workers. Those are things that we look at and we try to track, but again, knowing that our performance has to be within that bigger context of what's happening in the world.
So what trends do you see nationally and locally right now?
So we're seeing, obviously, interest rates have impacted things pretty significantly. While we know there's a shortage of both shovel-ready sites in not just Elyria, but Lorain County and Northeast Ohio. That's one of the trends that we see for industrial projects. We also see a shortage of industrial space. We're at some of the lowest vacancies we've ever had as a region, not just Elyria, for industrial space. So that is definitely something that I'm always thinking about, trying to problem solve for. How do we get more industrial space? Where is it appropriate in the city to get industrial space? So we're seeing that. We're seeing a lot of entrepreneurship. So we're seeing people start new businesses and trying to assist with that through our partners with the Small Business Development Center, and the Urban League also provides a number of support services to help coach people on entrepreneurship. And we're seeing a lot of interest in, obviously, residential. So we know that there's a shortage of residential. And again, that's not unique to Elyria. So we have a number of new housing starts planned for the upcoming year.
Let's switch over and talk a little bit about you. What is your background? What led you to this position?
I have an undergraduate in urban studies and a master's in public administration with a specialty in economic development from Cleveland State. And I think I was led to work in economic development because my dad was a general contractor, an entrepreneur, but also was very active in the community. So I could see how those things were linked and how entrepreneurship, how small business, large business, how the business community as a whole impacts the quality of life in a community. So I think I grew up seeing that firsthand, and I always wanted to be a part of helping that way. So that's what led me to the field. I have worked in economic development for about 15 years, and I was working in the private sector when Mayor Whitfield ran for mayor, and I was fortunate enough to be asked by him, and I think that there's so much opportunity in the city of Elyria that I couldn't wait to join the team. And then, of course, have been very fortunate to stay on with the new administration under Mayor Brubaker.
In the time you've been with the city of Elyria, what are you most proud of accomplishing?
I think that the thing that I am most proud of accomplishing is just the way in which we've been able to work together as a team to respond quickly to business needs. I will give an example. We have a $6 million McGregor Pace facility that is being built over by the Midway Mall area. About 40 jobs for the city, $6 to $8 million worth of investment. And so it's a big deal for us. But one of the needs they had is they had to get the property rezoned quickly in order to be able to close on the deal. And we were able to pull everyone together to see what the zoning needed to be, pull together special meetings, and get that accomplished in a matter of weeks versus a matter of months, so that we could help them, support them in making that deal happen, but then also make a project that's going to better the community happen here too.
Going forward, what are your personal goals? What else would you like to accomplish?
I want to see downtown be revitalized in Elyria. So I want to see that happen. I want downtown to be the kind of downtown that we all know it can be and that we all want it to be. I also, that's probably the main thing. I also want to be here for when Midway Mall is redeveloped. That's another big priority for me. And of course, helping Chestnut Commons redevelopment. We had a number of townhomes announced that are planned for construction over there. I think those are big enough goals right now, but for right now, I really just love being a part of this community and want to help it get where we all know it can be.
Outside of work, what are your hobbies and interests, and how do they help recharge you?
I love yoga. So I think that's good for the mind, the body, the soul, everything, and that definitely recharges me. I love spending time with my family. I have 3 adult children and a grandbaby and another grandbaby on the way, so that always recharges me. And hiking, anything in nature, really recharges me and resets me.
Finally, what's the best way for interested listeners to get additional information on the City of Elyria, the Economic Development Department, and connect with you?
They can go to our website at cityofelyria.org. They can reach me directly at dcalvert@cityofelyria.org or call me at 440-326-1410.
Thanks, Dawn. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.